least 30 right before like baseball.
Really?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
No glass containers. Chairperson Anderson?
Pickles? No pickles, no nothing.
Yeah, do you want it to strictly say I don't, this could go either way. It's, like I said, it makes an appearance on quite a few signs, however, it's not one of the most prominent ones you see.
Right. I'm okay about it.
There's not as much glass as there once was.
Yeah.
And if you think it is more applicable with the alcohol one, maybe it could be no consumption of hard liquor or glass containers, but that almost makes it sound like you're eating glass containers.
That's a good idea, though.
Yeah.
Now that I say it out loud.
It made sense in my head. So maybe finding a way to kind of combine it in with that one.
Sure, whatever.
No hard liquor or glass containers. Okay. Tobacco use, you guys said no to the stackable signs. Is this something you want on there? And then there is that caveat of you can do it in your personal vehicle, and is that part of what you would want on there?
I'm fine with that.
The entire thing?
Hmm?
Yeah, I think so too. It just
If
seems
there's
wrong to
space,
have
I
any
don't know.
kind of tobacco in a park, because that's where kids are, so you shouldn't. You can
If you're in your own
refrain.
vehicle, you know.
Yeah,
So the entire thing?
Hmm?
I think so.
If it fits.
If it
If
fits.
If it goes to the next line, then it's too much.
So if you
Yeah.
chew, you have to spit in your vehicle?
Please. In your cup
We
holder.
can use a comma instead of,
Mm-hmm.
that'll save a space.
No golfing.
Yes, put that at the top.
Put that at the
City
top.
park anyway. Yeah.
Well, they do it anyway.
Yeah, it should stay.
So golfing
I
on the
guess.
sign.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we determined that for the most part, signs will be consistent throughout the parks, with the exception of City Park would get a more glorious monument sign.
Or a different size.
Right. That TBD aesthetically. And then what information is included on both the rules and entrance signs you guys gave me, so I can move forward. If there are any really pressing matters as far as design go, I will gladly accept emails.
Okay, and can we run these by the police?
They've seen all of the
Have they
signs,
seen-
or do you mean specifically what's going, or they've seen all of the rules, do you mean specifically what's going on the signs?
See how that matches up with them? If there's some particular issue that they don't, my understanding, they don't seem to have much trouble in parks, but if there's something that they would like on there, we certainly can cooperate and do that.
Sure. I can run it by PD.
That'd be great.
I assume we don't need like a no firearms type thing, or no?
So when we had that discussion internally, and Chief Gottschalk said that because we already have a firearms ordinance, it didn't have to be included in the park ordinance section. However, if that's something that you guys want on the signs, this isn't just limited to necessarily the park ordinances. If there are other things, I'm not going to dig through the entire code, but if you guys find something while you're looking at it and you want it added, I mean, is that something that you guys would want on there? That's a really good point.
I just know that there's been more people moving out here, and I've kind of heard people say that some people move out here and they're like, well, I'm in the country, so I can shoot my gun. So I just didn't know if that was anything.
We're actually revisiting the ordinance.
Yeah.
We've done ordinances and stuff like that, so it's great you guys are thinking about that.
Yeah, thank you. And, I think that every 3 or 4 years, we need to look at this list again, because it's gonna change over time. And we
But as
don't-
of
we
right
don't-
now, no.
We don't want those ugly stacked signs.
I will make it incredibly tall, long, and intrusive.
Well,
Question, if it's okay. At least for the city park one, if you're doing like a monument sign, like was talked about, like the Medina style type thing, could it have a back, depending on where it's located, that has the rule side on the back of it? If you're trying to save space, or have another, that way you could have another smaller sign if you needed it additionally. Just not at.
I think the big one is usually more just of an entrance and then they pull in and park, right? Well, unless
Generally.
you park and then walk to it.
Yeah, and I think in
Depends on where
City
you put it.
Park, that probably wouldn't make sense, because it's,
You'd probably want it on both sides, like
The name,
yeah, because if you're coming from either direction, that'd be the only,
Gotcha, yeah, makes sense.
well, and if you're pulling in, you might not see those park rules either.
yeah.
If
True.
you're going-
And you're not gonna.
By the
put
time you're
right
coming out,
Right.
then,
They almost need to be like when
Yeah.
you're getting to like where the real park is.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
All
we
right.
feel good about this?
Yes.
Thank you all. Your input is very valuable and very helpful as I continue moving forward with this stuff.
All right. Active planning applications. Any questions, comments? Somebody's been editing this. It's down to two sides of one page.
You said that the last two
And apparently I'm really impressed, and I don't remember that it was only one page last time, huh?
We're efficient.
That's good. Well, it's good. It's nice.
What's the name of the development across the street from the park?
To there. No, Rush Creek Reserve.
Okay, that was my question here. Well, it's changed so many times, I still
Right.
remember Sawgrass.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one that hit me from years ago, and I'm like,
Peach tree, yeah.
Yeah, yep,
It had
yep.
multiple names.
okay. Okay. That was my question.
All right. Hearing no questions, we're going to move on, trying to get out of here at a good hour. Recreation Supervisors update.
I will keep this quick, but please note the photo on top. I don't remember where I got that. I think Ryan sent it over to me, but I thought it was fun. So baseball, Commissioner Nybo, 19% Corcoran residents across the entire program.
Growing.
25% for T-ball, 13% for coach pitch. I don't know what happened there. 22% for machine pitch, for an average of that 19. Program coordinate, well,
Is it
Parks.
full? Is it getting full?
Oh, it's full.
Oh, it is full.
Yes, I have, so as far as my budget is concerned, I'm doing better with registrations. However, my numbers for T-ball were lower than I wanted, coach pitch was higher than I anticipated, and machine pitch was higher than I anticipated. So it actually shifts higher for monetarily, just because machine pitch and coach pitch cost more. It gets more as you
20%
get
of the
older.
kids are Corcoran.
19, but yeah.
19%.
So,
Another one.
I think that's better than previous years.
That's a big improvement.
Yeah, when I started here, I think we were at 10,
10, yeah.
and then it was 15, and now.
That's 20.
And I'd like to attribute some of that to the development, and I think we're getting the word out there a little better. So, progress.
Good job.
Parks and Trails packet, there's that. Program coordinator, I actually do have an update for this as of today. I received the signed offer letter back from our person, which means he's basically employed once I get him to fill out the paperwork. His name is Noah. I'm going to schedule a time for him to come in and get all that done. Again, big thanks to Tom for sitting in interviews with me. I'm really excited. I think he's going to be a wonderful fit, not only like organizational culture-wise, but I just think that he seems to have good experience, and I am so hopeful to get some of my summer back. So, very excited.
Part-time for him?
Go ahead.
Pardon?
Part-time or seasonal?
Seasonal.
Well, it's going to be like full-time hours, but seasonal.
Seasonal.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Communications, I have been updating the Parks and Rec newsletter articles. I worked with Night to Night, getting that kind of updated for the newsletter on this next one. Updating the Parks and Rec website pages, and I post to the city's Facebook and Twitter. I am the social media person, so that. Field and pavilion reservations, we're pretty on track as far as those go. We've got our general field ones that come in every year from the same groups, and then the pavilion rentals are pretty on brand, it's pretty standard. I would expect we still get a decent amount more than previous years, just because COVID is still around, but,
Are there a few for this year, though?
yep, I think I've got 2 or 3 so far. And they usually pick up, once the weather gets warmer and people realize that they can be outside again, without freezing their face. Ice rinks, this is probably the longest season we've had since I've been here. We closed on Saturday, February 26th at 9 PM. This is the first time I can remember going through almost all of February. So, props to Public Works, props to the weather, big kudos. Soccer, nothing big to report, just receiving questions about the season, and I'll be sending out emails. Registration opens up early April to residents, and then mid-April to non-residents. And that again would be that passcode, and I double check every single registration. Questions?
Good job.
Thank you.
Again.
Good job. City council report. Mr. Mayor, do you have anything for
I
us?
think Counselor Nichols is
Oh, Councilor Nichols,
happy to jump in after.
I'm out of sight, but not out of mind, hopefully.
thank you.
So, thank you all, and for those of you who were able to attend the goal-setting session, goal discussion session on February 24th. So we had, I think, a robust set of topics that we're going to bring forward to a variety of work sessions over the course of the summer, starting with a lot of development focus over the first one, I think, in May, and we'll carry forward from there. For those who were interested last time, we had a little bit of an update on the zoning preemption bills that are going on in the Minnesota State Senate and House. The House had a committee hearing on their version of the bill and tabled it. The Senate had a hearing on their version of the bill and passed it to another committee. So we're hoping that that ends up being defeated or substantially changed before it got implemented. In terms of parks, we should be starting to see some additional final plats come through that should result in some more park dedication. I know that Tavera development is proceeding relatively quickly. We're expecting a couple more to come in the next couple of months. The 7th edition of Bellwether came in February, so that'll be a little bit, I think it wasn't that many home sites, so I don't think that's going to be a huge influx for park dedication funding, but every little bit does help. And then a separate work session to deal with water development. We have an alternate site in mind now for a second choice for the water tower. But council has not yet decided which one we prefer, so we're waiting for some financial analysis to come in through our consultants at Northland Securities. We are, I think, expecting that early in April. So at that point, we'll know a little bit more and be able to choose between those two sites and whether it makes sense to proceed at this time versus potentially, waiting a bit to see how costs and demand for steel and so on might affect pricing. That was all that I noted on the chart, on the list that might be of interest to you folks. Obviously, I want to welcome Commissioner Wiffles and Commissioner Frederick to the team. Thank you so much for your contribution and service to the city. We all appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing how you contribute over the coming 3 years of your terms.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Garden Club report.
I got a question.
Yes.
I was not at the work session or whatever on the 24th. I was out of town. Anyway, was he referring to the MS4 ordinance amendment and the resolution, the next one below it? The Housing Authority in zoning?
Yep, what about it?
Is that what he was referring to? That got shot down on one side and?
Yes, the housing bill, there was a subcommittee in the House, and then just in the last day, or 2 days, the Senate, it had a hearing on Tuesday, the 15th, and then again today, and then it passed that committee, and now it's going to another one.
And can you tell me just the basic gist of that ordinance?
I think you're talking two different things. You said MS4 ordinance.
Well, I don't know what it, that's how I saw it
But I
listed
think-
here.
I think you're
I was
talking
talking
two
about
different-
the housing and local decision.
Okay, and they are two different?
Yep,
I don't know.
MS4 has to do with a lot of the stormwater requirements, and it's a lot packed in there. Kevin would speak into, yeah.
Okay, and the other is?
So that's about a bill that's being kind of put through the legislature right now regarding there's a lot to it. I can definitely send you a summary, but it has to do with required densities, eliminating the use of PUDs, not allowing any aesthetic requirements in a development, minimizing park dedication. They've alternated between a maximum of 5% plus a bunch of new deductions, or 10% with those same deductions, and a number of other provisions that would be pretty significant changes to how development happens, and would have some pretty significant impacts, but it gets into the weeds a lot.
And that one did not pass?
So it's sitting in the House. In the Senate, it did pass the committee hearing today. So we'll see when it gets another hearing. I'm not 100% sure of the path it has to take to get to a floor vote, and where, honestly, what the likelihood of it passing or not passing is. It's kind of a weird coalition of not necessarily all Democrats and not all Republicans, and just kind of a weird mix, so it's hard to predict who's all gonna be part of that and if it'll pass or not. So it's a tricky one.
I'd like the summary on it afterwards.
Yeah, happy to get that for you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Garden Club, ground's still frozen, but we are making great progress on tree giveaway. We had, I sent out a note to everybody who got trees last year that they were available, and this was a couple weeks ago, and we had, like 71 people respond over the weekend, so Jessica came in on Monday morning and found this.
That was just Friday, was
Friday.
the 71.
People were just waiting, and so there are a few trees left, but not much, and,
Good.
yeah, I think Jessica and I just met a little bit, talked about it, and thinking, is there a way that we can make this process a little smoother? A lot of people don't get their first choices, and they're all good trees, so.
We're going from the back of the alphabet this year.
Oh, and
Because they
pass out
always
the,
got-
yes, we
leftovers,
are, that's a
yeah.
different story, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so, I had the notion that I'm always really, really quick at getting the trees ordered from Wright County, Soil and Water. And maybe I don't need to be quite so fast, and we could take a bunch of orders and see which ones are the most popular, and then make our order based on that. But I better talk to Eric at Wright County, Soil and Water first, to make sure that we don't get blanked. I'd hate to order trees and find out they're gone. So,
The cost is covered by a donation then?
the cost has been covered by another generous donation.
Good.
From
Big thank you to the Northwest Area JCs.
Northwest Area JCs.
Quick
Yes,
question.
Michelle.
Just wondering, since Corcoran has seen some growth in population, can we up the tree number that we get?
Well, that's a good question, and it's kind of up to the JCs. They're the one that fund it, and we can
Well,
ask.
most of the new population has very small lots, so they
Right.
wouldn't need more than 5 trees.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
we did a little looking. It doesn't look like a lot of orders are coming in from the new development, but that could easily change, even if a bunch, that'd be wonderful. I mean,
Especially if you put it out in another way,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's just like the kids playing ball. It takes a while for people to figure out where they live and what's available, and so we'll continue to try and maximize that. But I think we could easily give away more trees. Yeah, we just have to get the money. So, and you hate when somebody's been really generous, like the JCs have been over all these years. You hate to kind of over ask. So
We'll work it.
yeah. All right, anybody else have questions? We're gonna continue to garden back over here, so. We got we ordered some plugs, from the tree sales. They offered wildflower plants, and, we're gonna get a bunch for the garden, so.
Can I touch on something similar
Sure.
to that? So during one of the meetings, we had discussed specifically that And there is going to be a policy set in place for the Memorial Garden funds. If it's and this is going to council next week, so you'll see it. The proposed plan is if it's $5,000 or less, it comes to you guys approve it, you spend the money, and then it goes to council in claims. If it's more than $5,000, it comes to you guys, you approve it, it goes to council, they approve it, then the money can be spent. Does that make sense? So greater than 5,000, you gotta get both before spending the money. Less than 5,000, you approve it, then it goes to council, but we can spend the money before it goes to them.
And right now, we have,
Nothing. There's no guidance.
it just was unclear how to get money out.
Correct.
We just
So-
recommend this be spent.
Yeah, and we have, there's what, $12,000 or $14,000, there's significant money in the Memorial Garden Fund.
$11,531.47.
It's been that way. We don't deplete that much, hardly at all. And never as much as 5,000. That's a lot of zeros. It's good, all right. Other business? Liaison schedule? I see we have 2 open weeks here.
And actually, Commissioner Strahler said that she would take 324.
Ooh, thank you,
So,
Julie.
thank you. Does anyone have an interest in taking 428? I know you guys already have to be here one Thursday a month. Keep in mind, you don't have to physically be here to be a liaison. It can be virtual if you want to log in, similar to Councilmember Nichols.
I think I can do it.
Do you want me to put TBD?
Yep. Oh, put my name.
And just to back up a little bit to park dedication, I talked to our finance person,
Yeah.
and Maggie said that she actually already put in, we had discussed, like, the city park, having kind of a separate line for those to keep track of funds. It's already in there, I just am grabbing it from the wrong sheet. So I gotta be smarter than the Excel document, thank you.
Any other business that we should discuss before we adjourn? Okay, Chair will take a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn?
I second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you all.
What did you say?
Hard work tonight. Good job.
There's some things I'm really
Thank you,
adamant about.